So unfortunately, nothing has changed, and nothing unfortunately will change. As you know, I went through this myself with my father there just before the new year, just a few days after Christmas. Waiting for an ambulance, we waited 4 hours, 4 hours, and that was emergency, urgent care. 4 hours, yes, 4 hours. You hold me right. And again, it's untoward, and again, Northern Sound has been a bit disingenuous. It's untoward how many people could probably be dying as we speak now at the moment in time in County Cavan and County Monaghan, across the country, long no less. Just because they rang an ambulance and they waited 4 or 5 hours. In some cases, one case was 7 hours, both on the wait 7 hours for an ambulance. Insane, insane stuff. And again, first world country, not a third world country, first world country, huge amount of money being paid in taxes. Where does the money go? It just goes down the magic hole. Because the HSE is getting hundreds of billions, billions, more money than you can imagine. And I don't know where all it's going to, because it should be enough to deal with all these problems. Because it's not the fact it's underfunding. They just simply don't want to pay ambulance drivers. That's the problem too. They don't want to pay ambulance drivers, and they're all going to Australia. And who would blame them? They have a difficult job. It's a difficult career. And I do admire anybody that's a nurse or a doctor or an ambulance paramedic too. Because again, you could see the worst things imaginable, and you can never get out of your mind. But yeah, in this case, there was a person died while waiting 45 minutes in an ambulance. And again, that's just the average. And again, the one thing I hate in Northern Sound, you hear it off on the radio. And you hear it on RT, or take for example, not even RT, but Virgin Media and stuff like that. The government have an ad saying to ring 112 or 999 in case of an emergency. Have your air code ready. You know, just going back to that night, we were asked twice for the air code. Once straight after about 5 minutes into the call that night, my incident was supposed to happen. And then 2-3 hours later we asked for the air code again. It wasn't like they were going to just magically turn up, with the air code. So, it was pointless really giving it to them anyway, to be totally honest. Because it didn't come any quicker, let's put it that way. But yeah, there was a serious incident in County Monaghan. Another whistleblower, because there's a whistleblower that said one date in February there were 0 ambulances in Monaghan station, Friday night into Saturday morning. The HSE just bullshit, but I wouldn't be surprised, because that incident, it was the busiest night when my father took bad, just after Christmas. It was the busiest night because the flu and everything, and people being sick and stuff like that. It was it was one of the busiest nights the HSE ever had. So a lot of stuff was going on in that, but it's the fact of the matter there was no ambulances. Again, this was an urgent case because it was a man in his 70s. He had a heart problem, he had stilts, and he had a big, huge operation, multi-sound bypass. It's high priority. It was really high priority case, because of the age and stuff. It wasn't a young person and stuff. But and a heart problem, and 4 hours, high priority, 4 hours. Yes, makes sense. But yeah, it's insane. But again, they don't want to pay paramedics. The people at the top of the HSE, we found out recently too at the HSE that people being overpaid, and it's not the only Joe that's working on the corridors, the only nurse and the man, the woman on the corridors looking after the patients. Is the people sitting on their arses at the top of the HSE get 300,000 for doing fuck all. They're getting the money left over, like the same with Ryan Tubb. The same thing's happening here. They're getting an extra few, probably 1,000 a week. Put it in your pocket, be quiet about it. While the only nurse and the only doctor and the only paramedic too that's going out and seeing traumatic stuff, traumatic stuff, people's heads may be knocked off. The mind shudders to take what they have to go through and stuff, and then they have to go home in the evening and try and forget about it and try and move on. And you just think about that for a second. It's not an easy. It's not like you're thrown up and everything's fine. And, you can get it out of your head. I don't think you ever get them things out of your head. But yeah, it's a no-brainer that it's not just even one life, and I do feel sorry for the family involved, because again, the worst thing was the wait. It wasn't anything else. It was the wait, having to wait. And even my father said when he was on the ground, waiting for the ambulance. I wish they'd come, you know. And that just tells you all you need to know. And again, it was the wait. You know, for everybody it was agony because I talked about it before, but it was agony, just the wait, because not knowing what to do. You know, that was the worst part, I suppose. It was the wait because nobody knew what they were doing or anything. So yeah. So I know about this phase, but again, nothing's ever going to change. Sad reality, and it is the sad reality that nothing will ever change. They don't want to pay people now. They want people to work for literally nothing. It's a sad disgrace that this is the way it is, and unfortunately, I don't think it's ever going to change. I'm sad to say. Anyway, let me know if you take subscribe more, and bye.